Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of the Philippines qualifiers of the FSL League of Legends edition. Once again, I'm Hungry Cass, alongside me is Spoods, and we've already more or less seen who's gonna be in the grand final. I think right now we're just looking for the lower bracket, and of
Yeah.
course today we're gonna be playing into the lower bracket all the way to the grand final. So for now, the matchup is gonna be Liyab versus, I believe, Mob Esports? Yeah, that's the one. So there we go. On your screen right now, we do have it up. So Picks and Ban's actually halfway underway already, and we do have the pretty standard bands of the Ornn as well as the Mordekaiser coming out, but the Caitlyn first pick is interesting though.
Yeah, Caitlyn right now isn't the best champion
Mm.
first pick. I think you definitely need a lot to get her going
Mm.
early, and if she's able to be shut down in that early game in her lane, it's going to be very difficult for her to come back.
Yep.
So, not exactly sure if going for the Caitlyn is the best idea.
Oh
Miss
man,
Fortune
buddy.
definitely quite a stronger champion. Giving away set as well,
This
possibly
is.
not the best.
I feel like Set is in an awesome place in terms of like top laners that want to be left alone and
Mm.
duel because champion is simple. All you have to do essentially is just get one wave clear item or one dueling item and then go health and resistances. It become a very oppressive side laner. It's similar to the old Aatrox where there is no way you can duel 1v1, and if you do, the mechanics of the champion itself is just so frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, but the thing about Set is, right, it's very difficult. I don't like to see him being first pick. I don't like him seeing blind pick,
Mhm.
actually, because he's just such a kiteable champion that, I don't think, if you understand how to play into him, I think you are able to counter him in the
Yeah.
in the pick ban phase quite easily.
You say kiteable, they do have Caitlyn Braum, which is, for all intents and purposes, very good at kiting in terms of peeling back for the ADC as well. And you have the Galio there. Junglers are actually still open. We still have Olaf, we still have Jarvan, we still have Lee Sin,
Mm-hmm.
all up. So we'll see what that actually means for the pick and ban phase. Of course, if you do have Jarvan Galio, that's one of the old school combos that we used to see in Season 9.
Yep, running into some technical difficulties right now. We are trying to reconnect on
Don't
our
worry, it'll
screen.
come through, come through.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the most part, I think as the picks and bans go through,
Yeah.
junglers haven't seen a lot of focus just yet. We saw pretty much 100% pick ban on the Jarvan yesterday, and for
Mm.
majority of the earliest qualifiers as well. I think Jarvan is a highly prioritized champion, so we should probably see that come out soon.
It's basically above 95%
Yeah.
presence at this point. It's only one game so far that
I
we've
feel
seen.
like in LCS and LEC as well, right?
Yeah.
It's super popular just because it's the strength of the champion. We always talk about how you can do the 3 camp clear into level
Mhm.
3 and then you hit the lanes very quickly. And the moment you gank and burn a flash or any summoner spell, you can just regank the lane within the next 30 seconds.
I mean, he has basically everything you need to succeed, right? He has the damage, he has the ability to clear quickly, and he is able to gain priority quickly for his laners, so that you can transfer that
Yeah.
to dragon priority, which I think is what this patch is all about.
Not just Dragon Pyro, but I think being able to take the Rift Herald as well and snowball that into like environmental goal. I say environmental goal, I mean like the turret plates, right? You can use the Rift Herald to convert into turret plates, to convert into structures themselves. There's a lot of value there, and of course you get the second one that just snowballs your lead even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Rift Herald is quite important, I
Mhm.
think. Just accelerates the tempo. But again, one thing that we did point out multiple times on the cast, but I don't think we've really drawn too much attention to,
Right.
is the fact that you need to play it well, because we've seen a lot of scuffed heralds.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I think we haven't seen one that has been super valuable. None that I can really think of at the
Mhm.
moment. The best ones we've seen is 2 charges. That's about it.
Yeah, but for the most part, 2 charges, you're like, wow,
That's true.
that's value, right?
That
That's
is true.
value if you get 2 charges. Ideally, you get one and you find a structure. The worst heralds are the ones where you can't really convert a structure off it. I think that's the one where you kind of feel a bit bad because you could have maybe made a play better around it. Are trying to reconnect. I
Here's
think.
the deal, though. When you see this screen, right,
Yeah.
it says that you're attempting to reconnect,
Yeah.
but it's actually not. You just have to exit.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is
Interesting.
not gonna work.
Yeah, so we
Feels bad,
probably
man.
will have to actually, considering that we DC'd out of the Pigman, we might actually have to remake
Yeah.
the game and let the players know. Unfortunately, we have run into some issues right now. Oh, hold on, maybe, I don't know. On our screen, looks like.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay, cool. See, there we go. Okay,
Interesting.
we are gonna swap back into the pick and ban
Mhm.
screen, but through the power of technology, we've actually jumped all the way to the last sort of state of
Yeah, time
affairs
travel,
already.
yo.
Yeah. So we do see bot lane is gonna be MF Nautilus that came through, Trundle jungle, LeBlanc mid and set top for Liyab. Meanwhile for Mob Esports, we saw the Caitlyn Braum earlier. Zac now in the jungle, Galio Renekton as well.
Yeah, we've seen some of these picks before. I think Zac and Galio were two off-meta picks,
Yeah.
I'll say, that we saw yesterday. Zac, I don't think He didn't do too well, I
Yeah,
think.
even though the idea of what you wanted to do with the Zac was there,
Mhm.
we were talking about the possibility of using Zac as a flex pick because we saw in recent weeks top lane Conqueror Zac has actually become quite powerful. That being said, I do like that they have this Renekton Zac sort of partnership set up because now they can actually level 3 dive top lane. The champions that you play or rather pair Renekton with, you do want to have that like possibility, right? So it's usually the least that can repel up.
Yep.
For the case of the Zac, you can actually take aggro and then pop your passive, go into the bloblets, and then reform and get the dive done in proper.
So we're looking at dive tops
Yeah.
once again. Is
When
that
you
right?
play Renekton, you have to play dive tops. I feel like there's no point playing Renekton if you don't want to dive at level 3.
I feel like against set again,
Yeah.
deceptively tanky is a bit difficult to execute that very well. You have to juggle the turret aggro extremely well as to keep in mind his grit,
Yeah.
his passive.
If you don't respect the true grid coming or the grid itself rather, that's where the shield comes up and the true damage is popped. So yeah, I do agree with your point. There's the complication of trying to dive the set as well as if you group in a weird position, the level 3, if you're considering if you maxed everything, right, you'd have the phase breaker to kind of like stun them up together. So that's the danger. But if you're not gonna play Renekton, in my opinion, I feel like Renekton has to be more aggressive on the top side. Otherwise, you can just pick things like Aatrox,
Yeah.
play into the set when it comes to being a side laner, wave clear it, then be more impactful when it comes to the mid late game.
Pretty sure set is a counter to Aatrox.
Yeah. We haven't really seen a lot of Aatrox in this region in particular, or
That's
just in the
true, yep.
qualifiers in general, right? So there is a natural aversion of sorts towards the Aatrox, but we have to see how this plays out as we are still in a bit of a spectator delay, as you can see on your screen. Walk me through the compositions. What do you expect to see?
But one thing that really stands out to me just by looking at these champions is the fact that Mob Esports, I don't think, has adequate mid-game damage. I
Right.
think if Caitlyn dips into that trough and Galio and Renekton aren't able to get a hit, you really have a severe lack of damage. That's
Okay.
where you're tanky, but you're not going to be doing too much damage to the side of Liyab. Meanwhile, on the side of Liyab, I think this is much more balanced. I think you can have decent damage throughout the entirety of the game. Miss Fortune will scale well into mid and late game, and LeBlanc, well, if she's able to pop off, that's just, your solo queue LeBlanc just running through the entirety of your team. So, overall, I give the advantage slightly over to Liyab just because they have that mid-game damage.
Right. So I have to see if that sort of allows them to power forward in the mid game. And the current state of the patch, at least, is the mid game is where you want to make the plays for the Rift Herald as well as the structures. And if you end up, playing ARAM, as it were, you really can't make full use of that mid game power. So I do like that you mentioned the idea of the LeBlanc popping off, because then you have a very pesky side lane LeBlanc that no one can really catch. You just literally double distortion away if people try to collapse on you. Otherwise, your wave clear is just so good anyway. Doesn't matter. So we have to see how this one plays out. Of course, the Liyab right now, they were the previous representatives of FSL Philippines in Season 2. So they were at the FSL Elite event. This time dropping the lower bracket, a bit unfortunate. We are looking at the lower bracket now, of course, and this is more or less their last shot at redemption. If they are out here because it's a double limb, they're out of the tournament.
Yep.
They're out of the running. No chance of making a repeat performance as the representatives once more.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that point because yesterday one of the main issues that we did see coming up from Liyab was the flaw in some of the executions they were trying to make. Hopefully, with the short break, with the day that they've had to go back and look at VODs, we're gonna see some of that shored up, and hopefully they come up with a stronger showing.
Right, loading onto the Rift. First game for today will be Liyab on the red side and on the blue side, Mob Esports. Unfortunately, a bit of a pause coming in, but should be sorted out very quickly, especially because our players are at Tektite, the game arena in Philippines that is, kind enough to host and sponsor all our players there. Bit of a expected pause. We were talking about this yesterday about how sometimes the screen literally just freezes and we're like, okay, we'll gloss over this, it's cool.
Nothing's happening. It's just like, those games that we used to see in Season 9 in LEC and LCK.
Just random pauses in the middle of team fights.
Yeah, it's fine.
Anticlimactic.
Oh, man.
So interesting that almost all the expected keystones that you want to see have come through. The only old school, I would say, with, air quotes, is the press the attack Trundle. We haven't seen Trundle a lot even though it's been picked up recently in the LCS, but I see the merits of the Trundle here. You can sort of pop out on both the Zac or the Galio and kind of steal the stats and become pseudo-tanky, right?
Yeah, we pointed out that they have about 4 champions that have the possibility to become that huge tank. So
Yeah.
picking Trundle into Renekton, Zac, Galio, and Braum is actually pretty good. You have a lot of options there, like you said.
Right. Kind of a expected defensive start coming through. Den is gonna be working on her blue buff. Meanwhile, oh, Rox having to distort away. Will walk into the brush and get punched in the face by the Galio. Quite adventurous journeying in to get the vision down on the blue buff. We'll see the start of this jungle pathing in. So actually a lot of information now for Mob Esports.
Yeah, information advantage over the Mob, and you can see that they're actually... No, they were actually pretending to leash with the Renekton at the top lane, so both teams should understand where the enemy jungler is starting, which will give each of them clues on where they might be.
Right, so both junglers starting on the bot half will be pathing towards top. Like that Den is moving over to the Gromp. Oh, hold on, early action right now. Popping the winner's bite though. 2 more auto attacks will get the stun off. But because of the automatic CC on the auto attack, Nautilus will be able to pop the... Oh, here we go.
Yeah, but this is a very irritating lane to play against, right? You have the Caitlyn, you have the Braum. These are 2 very poke-heavy champions, as well as the range that they do bring. So have to definitely have fancy feet.
Yeah.
If you're on the side of Liyab's bot lane right here, you can see that they've already chunked the Nautilus down for about half health. Should be able to heal that up, no problem. It's just how they're gonna be able to layer this poke later on, I guess.
Okay, a bit of pause again, but Den did move over to the Gromp after blue buff. Meanwhile, Zac did the Raptors after red buff. So right now, I think Den is going to be able to get level 3 off this camp alone just because Gromp gives a lot of EXP. There you go, level 3 already. We'll have the Pillar of Ice up. There you go, leveled up already.
Yeah, both junglers now in the top side. I don't... Well, actually, like you were saying, they had the possibility to dive top side, but you can see that the minion waves, they're actually quite equal right now. And both top laners are actually pretty happy looking up to going up, looking to go up against each other to CS. So might have a bit of aggression up here. Would not be surprised to see jungle attention given to these top laners as well.
Managing to land a stun as well. No counter meet for the heal. Rere taking a pretty even trade, all things considered, despite Set's oppressive kit. Now, I want to point out that because of the pathing from Penguin, it was very inefficient. You had to do basically 4 camps to get level 3, right? And these 4 camps take a lot of time and damage, right? The moment you walk in and you start it up, you're always going to be behind in tempo as well as speed. Right now, though, might be paying for it. Then coming towards the top side. No ward here to spot out the Trundle, but will come in from the flank. Great Pillar of Ice, though. Actually double flashing forward. Not really in range to land the CC, so then we'll trade Flash for Flash here in the top side.
Yeah, Flash for Flash is all that's gonna result from this top lane gank. You would think that, you know, had the Zac gone for the more optimal clear, had gotten the buff
could have counter ganked.
Definitely could have counter ganked, could have made this quite different.
But now that the Renekton doesn't have the flash, though, it has to respect the lane a bit more, and of course this lane is gonna change and evolve a bit more now that Jones can play more aggressive.
Yep, then just gonna use the Scar's Bloom, not gonna spot out anyone, so should give over some information that Penguin is towards the bottom side. I believe he actually got spotted out as well.
Yep, was spotted out, so you can see Penguin is kind of afraid to do the Scuttle Crab in the bot half, just because Fofi and In was pushing up. And like we said, without the flash, Riri has to respect this aggression coming in from the set. This is a big wave that's actually collapsing now on the tier 1. About 1.5 waves worth of minions dropping in.
Yeah,
teleport back.
Gonna have to expend the teleport to get back into the lane to pick up this minion wave. Can't risk losing that much CS this early on, but the fact of the matter is that I don't understand why you would pick the Renekton into the set. I mean, the base numbers that set has in his kit just enable him to become that lane bully that Renekton wants to be. And honestly, once Renekton gets behind, he just gets shut out of the game.
Yeah, this is looking quite dicey right now for Ray Ray in the top side, especially because we saw the flash blown earlier. Will not come up until she's about level 6, and you lose your windows of aggression here, having to respect Jones a lot more. The set might be looking to become a mid-game powerhouse in the side lanes. As we take stock of the situation, the junglers have kind of reset now. Penguin going for the Stalkers upgrade here for the Smite. Of course, that's going to provide a bit more CC. Then as well, not opting for the challenging Smite, instead going for the Stalking upgrade as well.
We're beginning to see the beginnings of a vision line for the side of Liyab. You can see that the river is mostly warded up in their favor. This is pretty good if they want to decide to take that dragon. You can see 3 wards, 1 just expired in that bottom side river.
This is the Ocean Dragon, which I think has a pretty decent value if you play properly around it. If you can sneak it for sure, but I think team fighting for it might be not very worthwhile, as the double up is going to land on the Caitlyn. Penguin now coming in for some coverage. The Zac will be playing towards the bot side, waiting for the red buff to respawn as well. Now you can see, because of the pathing inefficiency, she's actually leveled down, and she's down about 10 CS, which is, you know, 1.5 camps. When they now finishes off of Pola, aggression in the mid lane, actually landing the taunt and the aftershock.
We're actually seeing Zac wander around aimlessly in her own jungle right now. This is not very good. They're turning around once again. This is about 30 wasted seconds of doing absolutely nothing.
And this is because her pathing was, like we said earlier, very inefficient, right? She can't play to the top side because her red buff is coming up right now. So for her to move from red to wolves to Grom and then, you know, play towards the bot half is just horrible use of time, and you end up mismanaging how you want to allocate your resources.
Yeah, this is about a minute of wasted time at this point for the Zac, now having to replay some of the wards in the Dragon Pit, ensuring that, you know, Trundle doesn't start it up. I believe Trundle is actually one of champions that can, you know, solo down the Drake as well.
One of the few, you know.
Yeah.
Right now, moving over to the red buff, Penguin's only level 4. I'm not sure if you know this about Zac, but you level up your E first, right, the last slingshot, and the more levels you get, of course, the higher the range goes. You actually really want to power farm to 5 and 7, because that's when you can get increase in your elastic slingshot levels and gives you a more range to work with. Right now, because she's behind in terms of level, she doesn't have the aggressive option.
Take a look, both junglers now into the bot side. Galio is going to spot out the Control Wall is going to spot out the Trundle as, you know, she goes into a Dragon Pit. I thought she was going to start it. Just going to clear the ward.
Just going to clear out another ward. So the battle for vision here now is very real in the bot quadrant. Meanwhile, popping the passive from the LeBlanc, the taunt coming in, but then looking to look for the play. Rock's not landing the ethereal chains, though, might be a bit tricky. Pillar of Ice knocks hand back. Oh, actually flashing forward though, getting knocked up by the wall and coming back in. You have to think there was a misplay from the Galio in the mid lane. Actually trying to Justice Punch, but getting blocked by the wall.
Yeah, I'm not sure where she was trying to Justice Punch, flashing behind the wall. I thought she was going for the LeBlanc, but it does look like she actually just channeled that straight into the Pillar of Ice. So that does give priority over to the side of Liyab, as well as the numbers advantage around the Ocean Dragon. I do not think you should go to teamfight this if you're Mob.
We're talking about the value of, or at least the diminishing value of Desperate Steals, and this is one of those times where Desperate Steal is not necessary. She's channeling the Elastic Slingshot, but this is a very dangerous dredge line in.
Yeah, they could have been punished. Well, not really, since they still had the numbers advantage on the side of Liyab. At the end of the day, nothing traded over except for the kill and the Ocean Dragon. It's not the end of the world just yet for Mob.
Early Dragons, double up landing on the Caitlyn, but early Dragons, they have value, but I think we were looking towards the third Dragon onwards when it all becomes the same one. I think that's where the value actually increases, because then you're stacking the same Dragons over and over, right? So you have a compounding effect in terms of what you want, and of course, the soul is great as well.
I think that's differing opinions for the Dragons as well, since I'm actually going to hold that thought. That's coming in for a gang.
Justice Punch up, but the Ethereal Chains will land. Looking for the ultimate though. There you go. Pulls the Galio back in, and with the Trundle arriving, you have to think this is extremely dead Galio. The kill will be donated over to Rocks this time. Remember that it was the Trundle that picked up the earlier one. So right now, playing towards the mid side seems to be working out for Liyab as they rotate over to the Rift Herald.
Yeah, you would think that this absolutely should not be happening. I mean, you saw Set just walk down the river and Galio was continuing to push up when they have absolutely zero vision in this section of the jungle. So definitely have to step up the vision game on the side of Mob, and this just concedes another Rift Herald. Another objective, the Rift Herald.
If we're looking at how, you know, this sort of escalated, it was because of the early flash blown by the Renekton. Now you have to kind of respect the set. You give the set space to push up, play aggressive, and roam. So it kind of snowballs in itself.
for sure now we are looking at, the side lane snowballing LeBlanc to becoming a bit more of a reality in this game. The timer is ticking. Definitely have to begin shutting her down before she hits those mid-game items.
Good
for
juke
the
away.
damage spike.
Rock's now looking to play a bit more aggressive, considering she has the last chapter, as well as a bit more of an EXP lead in the mid lane. Meanwhile, items coming in for the Misfortune. It's going to be the makings of the Essence Reaver, whereas Storm Razor should be the item of choice here for the Caitlyn. Junglers finding each other here, level 7 on the Trundle versus the level 5 of the Zac, and you have to think that is going to hurt. Juking away once more. Pillar of Ice is actually pretty decent, but the taunt will pull the Trundle back in, using the ultimate to get a second chain down. Will force the flash away. Zac using the stretching strikes to pull them back in, but you burnt 2 flashes there. Meanwhile, the top side solo kill coming in. Jones, no respect whatsoever, finding the solo kill on Ray Ray.
Yeah, just set things going in, able to pick up the kill. But in the mid lane, that was looking pretty spicy coming in from the Trundle. Not sure what she was doing, stepping up this far in the lane when, honestly, Galio had priority there. So
yeah, I think
having to burn the flash.
There was no respect. They were seeing the situation. They were thinking, considering since we've killed him and Hana has been overextending a lot, why can't we just do it again? But this time the reply was there. There's a Zac coming in to help. So moving onward, Liyab is, as a team, fundamentally, we were talking about this, really strong. They understand how to pressure and make full use of the situation. But sometimes the execution is a bit lacking, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of execution, we'll see if they can make this play happen. Flash forward for the depth charge. Actually blocking a lot of the damage with the Braum, but should probably go down here. Fofi will get the kill credit for that play. They tried to protect the Caitlyn, but of course, Braum being the good guy support that he is, will go down in defense of the ADC.
We were talking about execution, right? I think I like to see that they are, slowing things down, going back to basic.
Yeah.
Just making these easy ganks happen, ensuring that they have vision in the river to allow for these ganks, and now they're able to find slowly incrementing advantages. 0-4 right now, about 3k is the difference in gold.
Surprised that Den didn't walk to the bot lane to pop the Rift Herald after the Braum went down. I think there was a window there where they could have 4-man bot lane and gotten the structure for free with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and it's they're actually gonna put it down mid lane. They're gonna pick up some plates here, continuing to feed the LeBlanc. So
the question is whether they allow the Trundle to stick around, or whether they donate turret plates go over to the LeBlanc. Instead, not even auto attacking, so no gold going their way at either.
A little questionable.
Yeah, you have to think that was a bit of a misplay. Normally you have to be in range to auto attack, but because there were no minions left, they were hesitant to walk up. So that's actually a Rift Herald that is only used for structure damage. There's no gold, there's no snowballing effect there.
Yeah, definitely could have made better use of that. Instead, now gonna donate the blue buff over to the LeBlanc. Definitely gonna need that to continue pressing down the Galio, who in this game is not having a very good time.
This is what I mean. Sometimes the execution is like, you know what the idea is, right? They threw Rift Herald in the mid lane and tried to get some pressure, but they didn't execute properly. And this goes back to the early idea. Why don't play it in the bot lane?
They are on a 3-man stack here in the Tri-Bush. Braum, you gotta be careful here, buddy.
Actually checking, this will get pulled in by the Dredge line. The Pillar of Ice guarantees that there's nowhere else to go, but the hero's entrance buys space. They actually managed to turn this one around with the taunt as well. Here comes the bullet time, doing a lot of damage. The ultimate Let's Bounce coming in from the Zac. Heal being used in a very clutch fashion, but Un will not survive. Meanwhile, flashing forward is going to be the Set who lands the Haymaker, and the damage coming in. Fofi, no fear whatsoever, flashes forward again. Super aggressively to get the damage done. It's going to be a double kill for the Set as Rox joins in to look for the fleeing Renekton, who will pop Dominus. A bit of space provided, but I don't think that this Renekton is really going to be doing all too much here as the CC comes through. Rox is just going to kite him out.
Not sure if the one-man re-engagement from the Renekton was the best thing. Definitely could have gone much worse, but the engage in the bottom side, that was quite spicy. Oh, they're going to get
Looking to go in. I don't think they get the play here. Actually, maybe, possibly? Nah, not at all. Woo. Rox making it look easy as the Inferno Dragon will be the chains forward.
Yeah, and you could see that Set able to pick up multiple kills off the back of that fight. Now is gonna be a huge monster. 3-0 and 1. I wouldn't want to be in a set. I wouldn't want to be in a side lane with him at any point in this game. At this point,
this just goes to show the power of the Set. You kind of have to have a plan ready if you leave it open during the pick and ban phase. The Renekton was supposed to be the answer, or the supposed answer, right? But it's just not there. And this time, Jones showing off why it's a highly contested pick, not just globally, but in the FSL as well.
Yep, we are going to see her move towards the Scuttle Crab. They have two members here. I'm not sure if they want this.
Yeah, they might not actually want to fight this. Looking at Jones, who has already picked up the Titanic Hydra. Like we said, you just need an item to split push. You need a bit more health because your grid scales off your max health. And with that health, against bruisers, boy, you are going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, one thing that we did see though in the previous days is that when you pick Set, you can get a little overconfident just because of the power that the champion does bring.
Right.
So we have to keep an eye on this Set whether or not she steps up too far without the backup of her teammates, ends up feeding a few kills over to Mob. So far though, I have to admit, she's looking pretty clean.
Speaking of clean, rotations coming in from Iran and Kofi towards the top side. They will find a roaming Nautilus, and the stun should connect here. Kofi though in a bit of a sticky situation as the stretching strike will pull her in. The depth charge to buy space and peel back, but here comes the Renekton on the back line. I don't think the AD carry or the support is going to get out of this one. Very late to the rotation, yeah, they're not in position to defend, actually overextending into the river. You could see the idea once again. Execution, super shoddy, but they wanted to make the lane swap happen so they could take the Rift Herald on the top side.
Yeah, the issue with that was the fact that they did not have any deep wards. True, they had shallow wards, but when you're against the Zac, you can be easily outnumbered if you're unable to spot him out.
Winter 4 coming in, they might be looking to steal this one. Rox is actually pretty strong. Using the Blast Cone to get over, now Liyab are just gonna give this objective up and say we will be content with the side lane set, just pushing in the bot side.
Yeah, there's still about 3k gold to hit. Nothing, no reason to be worried about giving over the Rift Herald just yet. You can see LeBlanc is positioning with the inside track to put some damage down on the mid lane turret. It's going to be answered by the Galio though.
Now, who is going to be the one that's dedicated to dealing with Jones? You can see earlier the goal difference is just so huge. And even though they're trading turrets, it's an inner for an outer, and they might not even be able to get this. With Shirley charging down still. Yep, probably not enough damage to finish this one off. They will land the stun on top of the Trundle. Actually, one more auto attack might finish her off. Then has to be very careful about the spacing coming in. This is an Infinity Edge Caitlyn that is able to pop off. Here comes the bullet time that is blocked by the Unbreakable. Hero's entrance comes in as well. Then actually popping the King's Tribute, so she's now super tanky. Can go back in for the damage if they can find it. And Rox is gonna pop the Caitlyn where she stands, and they will clean up this fight. The entrance of the Galio not enough. That's 3 for 0.
Super unfortunate for Mob. I mean, the execution there was just a little too much. I mean, they stepped up way too far without any wards. Was unable to defend the bot lane turret from the set as well. So they donate multiple kills as well as a structure. 2 structures now to the side of Liyab.
Taking the fight in the mid lane. Ray now has the rage bar up. But you can see Jones with the max grid is just so frustrating to deal with. Combined with the Titanic Hydra, the wave clear is actually really oppressive, and there's nothing much that Ray can really do to deal with this.
Yeah, and the fact that Shet is once again a very good split pusher. The 1-2 punch very quick on the damage onto structures as well as champions. So definitely a huge side lane threat that at this point, like you were talking about earlier, is unable to be defended against by, I would say, even 2 people on the side of Mob.
The problem is they're running double bruisers. Bruisers in a very loose sense, right? You have Galio with Renekton, and Set excels at dueling bruisers just because in these extended fights, like I say, you do true damage with grid. And if you have to kind of hard commit, I feel like Jones would be very comfortable playing against the 1v2 to buy space for her team.
Right, we're seeing both teams now beginning to path towards the bottom side. The dragon is going to be spawning in about a minute, so we're going to see a bit more priority coming down for that. Liyab now having 2 is only 2 away from the soul, so is getting a little critical for Mob to come in and contest the objective.
Yeah, if Mob wants to make a play, they have to make a play happen soon. Recall coming in, actually denied by Den. A little bit of a tricky and mischievous play there. But Liyab now in position, set up already around this Inferno. Teleport is not available for Jones just yet, so best case scenario, this becomes a 4v5. And I feel like for Liyab, all they have to do is just wait around this area, buy space for Jones to split push, and eventually when they commit, then you can make the play for the Inferno.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4v4. You can see Renekton, well, 3v4 actually. Not sure what the Galio is doing back in base, but Set is now moving away. No minion wave contest, so I'm not sure if Mob goes for this.
Yeah, Mob looks like they might want to re-engage on this fight, but Liyab will be able to claim it. The smite coming in from the Trundle will get the kill. Now the depth charge on the Caitlyn means that she is in a world of trouble. will get knocked up, and there is some distance still between her and the enemy as they move forward. But with LeBlanc's mobility, they should be able to pick this one up. Then as well on the backline, looking for the kill confirmation on the Caitlyn. Will get the first. Now Zac in the Bloblet forms. Every man for himself now is the plan for Mob as the teleport comes in to save the Zac. Where is the set though? Still a bit far away, joining in now. Finally they get the Zac and coming into the fight. Here's the damage from the set out of nowhere. Managing to pop members on the backline. That's going to be a super clean ace coming in.
Oh, that was the best trade you could have hoped for from the side of Liyab. Not only do you get the Infernal Drake, you get a clean ace 5 for nothing. And if you take a look, Set actually managed to pick up the mid-tier 1 tower as well. So huge advantages going to the side of Liyab. Shouldn't be too hard for them to capitalize on this further.
A bit delayed on the entry for Jones, but well worth it.
I believe the teleport came out late.
Yeah. Now they will be able to get mid-tier 2 as well, open up the map even more. We're talking about the severe lack of damage in the mid-game if Mob doesn't get a hit, right, in terms of their composition. I think it's starting to present itself right here. When it comes to sieging, Caitlyn is literally the only person that's dealing damage, right? And because Liyab understand, okay, if we pick off the Caitlyn, we probably win the fight. Literally every single form of CC is just thrown on her. Earn is like depth charge on the Caitlyn, everyone just run at her, right? Trundle doesn't care, wants to get to the Caitlyn first, and when they neutralize that damage threat, team fighting becomes so much simpler.
Yeah, run at them I think is the motto for the side of Liyab at this point. You should understand that, hey, you have enough damage to take these extended fights and basically like, yeah, just run at them. That's basically all you have to do.
All eyes on the Caitlyn as to whether she can provide the damage and stay safe still. You do have the Braum, so that's a degree of safety that is afforded to you. But like we saw earlier, depth charge is very much a death sentence. So positioning properly around that CC is going to be crucial. Now Baron is up, it's 22 minutes. Jones now in the bot lane does not have teleport considering she used it earlier. Whether they want to threaten this Baron and buy space for Jones or actually commit to it though is the question. Oh no, way past enemy lines here, the Caitlyn and the Braum. This is saving Private ADC, but I don't think it's going to go well as the Unbreakable is put up in the wrong way and the bullet time will sweep her up. Finding the second kill on the support is going to be the Braum and the double kill for Fofi here.
Oh, just a completely flanked from the side of Liyab. I mean, I have no idea what Mob was doing, pushing up that far in the lane without any vision. And this just gives Liyab a window for a 4-man group to take down the Baron.
Yeah, this composition traditionally does not take Baron very well, considering the single tower damage of Misfortune is rather low. But when you find the ADC and the support, you do have the space to do such, make such plays rather. As Penguin is going to sit off the side. If she can vision of this, she might be able to steal it, but no, it's just too little too late as she puts the ward down a second after it's done.
Yeah, at this point, I think the composition, the 4-stack coming from Liyab, they're strong enough to take any sort of fight, even a 4v5. So, Set at this point does not have to group with the team. Obviously, once they are grouped as 5, they are a very, very strong unit. And they're going in once again.
Going in once again, immediately looking for the pick on Joydan, who is going to use the QSS. Oh man, landing the slam on the back. Here comes the Set. Actually holding so much damage. Looking for the grid though. They will eventually pick off the Set and neutralize a lot of the damage coming in. Now, can they still continue on this fight? Because there is no Caitlyn. There is only a single Renekton and the Bruisers are leaping forward. The taunt actually landing on multiple members. You now running away in the middle of it all. It's going to be Den that is actually still pretty tanky. LeBlanc kiting in and out with the distortion, buying space. They managed to pick up the Trundle on the way out. And now Rox is in a bit of a sticky situation as she extends forward, but she kites around. My goodness. Flashing out. Finally, we'll find the Nautilus. You know what? I'm just going to give some professional advice. Walk away. Cut your losses. Walk away.
You can see that even though that was a one fight for the side of Mob in the beginning of...
I like how you have air quotes like, yeah, they won it, right?
I mean, they won it at their start, so you can see how long it took for them to kill the side of Liyab. I mean, that once again, they don't have enough damage to take these fights, and Liyab, they understand this. You could see that they were delaying the fight for the LeBlanc to put down all the consistent damage that she's able to throughout the entire engagement.
As long as she can cycle through her cooldowns, there is, sufficient damage from the LeBlanc. But, to with your earlier point makes complete sense. Not enough damage when the Caitlyn dies. It becomes bruisers just running forward, trying their best to make the damage stick, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yep, definitely could have been much different if the Set and the Misfortune had been able to stay alive. Just a bit of a misplay, a bit of over-aggression coming in from the side of Jones, getting himself killed in the middle of 4 members of Mob.
Look at this, little LeBlanc instantly buys a Void Staff. So now her Magic Pen is through the roof as Inferno Dragon has been started up by Liyab here, using the bullet time to actually get a lot of damage down, will be taken away. And here comes the Inferno Soul. I don't think that Mob really wants to fight this as Fofi is left completely unchecked. Look at the damage that she's doing on the Caitlyn. Yep, this is definitely done. Hannah is stuck in the pit with nowhere to go, and the only member left alive is Ray Ray. Meanwhile, Jones is like, what? What is objectives? I'm just going to walk in and take the base.
Just set things. I mean, they're so far ahead, this is fine. I mean, I'm not sure how much damage in that fight could be attributed from the Infernal Soul. Definitely benefited them. Now they're just going to donate a kill. Oh, no, they're going to take the kill.
Padding the KDA.
From the side of Mob. They're going to end the game once minions come through, you have to think.
Yeah, there is at least another 5 more seconds on the only member to come up, or rather the next member to come up. Penguin here can't really do much as she watches her base go down. It might be the last defense though as the flash comes out from Fofi to keep herself in a good position. The set knocking the Zac back in to buy some space. Zac definitely going down as the Nexus will fall. The auto attacks. Good guy Rox gets blasted.
Yep, very clean game. I think Liyab have shown that they've shored up some of their weaknesses that we saw yesterday. They're definitely a strong contender now. I would not be surprised to see them advance to the finals.
Yeah, execution-wise, definitely looking a lot cleaner today. Commiserations to Mob Esports, of course, now eliminated from the tournament because it is a double elim bracket. So this is lower bracket. If you lose, you are out. So I'm happy to see that the Philippines as a whole, their qualifiers, the region as a whole, has been really high in terms of play. Super hype.
I believe Mob is actually a rookie team, if I'm not wrong. The execution wasn't exactly there. We saw them, sort of dismantled first by, I believe, Ardent, and now Liyab. So good practice. I think they got a lot of experience from this tournament.
And that's the thing, like, as each season rolls on, the players themselves get better and better.
Yeah.
Like, we got to a point now where I watched Thailand last, couple of weeks. I'm like, wow, this is actually really scary. Like, they are good, to the point where I would be very careful to say that, this isn't the best sort of regional League of Legends.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's going to be it for us. I'm not sure what match we'll have.
We'll have the brackets up, of course.
We'll have the brackets up, yep. So we're going to be right back.
We're going to go for a break. We'll be right back.
Yep.